and we are here in solidarity. John Lewis reminded us to make good trouble. So I want you to say, make good trouble. Make good trouble. For Medicaid, make good trouble. For Medicare, make good trouble. For aid to our historically black colleges and universities, make good trouble. For diversity, equity, and inclusion, make good trouble. For our federal employees, our hardworking civil servants, make good trouble. For Head Start, Job Corps, all of the programs that benefit our communities, we are going to make good trouble. All right. We're at a moment when the progress of the last 70 years has been attacked and assaulted by the most powerful people in this nation. It would be easy in this moment for us to despair. Easy in this moment to say, what are we going to do? But we're going to make good trouble. And we're here in Selma today to recommit, to resist any and all efforts, to turn back the hands of time. We are not going back. Say it, we are not going back. So today, we can't leave this fire, leave this power, leave this unity here in Selma. Take it back to Augusta, take it back to Atlanta, take it back to Macon, take it back to Mobile. Take it to Dallas and New Orleans, take it to Los Angeles, take it to New York and Tennessee, take it to the south side of Chicago. But we're not going to leave this fight here. We are tested in this moment as a generation. On that bridge were courageous men and women. When they got to the bridge, they had been working literally for years for the right to vote. That's right. And because of what they did, they shook the consciousness of this nation. And even a President Johnson, an ally, who had told Dr. King and John Lewis and Whitney Young and Roy Wilkins, I don't think I can pass voting rights. But what happened on that bridge woke this nation up, and they acted. So we're going to wake this nation up so that Terry Sewell's bill, the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act, is passed by the Congress, signed by the President, and we will not give up. God bless you, Selma.
We will not give up. 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 Hello, Selma. Say we. We the people. We the people. We are. The United States of America. Say we the people. We are the United States of America. My name is Melanie Campbell, and all I want to say is thank you, Selma. So repeat after me. Say thank you, Selma. Thank you, Rose, Fire Rose. Oh, no. Say it like you mean it. You may not know that name. Google it. Say thank you, Fire Rose. Thank you, Hank. Thank you, neighbor. Because you got the call and you answered. They may think they got a one-up on us, and I call the evil house, not the White House, right? They may think that they got us in Congress, but we got the CDC. But I know this, if I don't know anything else, I know the God I serve, He ain't left us wanting. The God we serve ain't left us wanting. We built this country. Did we build it? Yes. Say it like you mean it. We built this country. nation. We're not going back to third-class citizenship. God is watching. I'm standing here with my sister, leader Sheila Tyson from the great city of Birmingham, Alabama, who leads our Black Women's Roundtable. He's a county commissioner. I'm sitting here with Milton Jones, who is the leader of the 100 Black Men of America. We are all in this thing together. So I'm just tired, so I'm going to shut up and sit down. I've been preaching since the Unity Breakfast this morning. But repeat after me one more time. Because we want to hear it all the way to the evil house. You ready? We the people. We the people. We are the United States of America. Peace and power. We are winning. We are winning. We are winning. Peace and power.
Derek Johnson. Where's Derek? Derek Johnson, President of the NAACP, ladies and gentlemen. President and CEO of the NAACP.
Fired up! Fired up! Fired up! Fired up! We are 47 days into this presidency. We have 1,400 days to go. And between then and now, we must stay fired up and ready to go. The reason why today is important, 60 years of accomplishments, 60 years of growing and developing and perfecting democracy in the backdrop of a set of individuals who never stop fighting against came in, and he began to usher in a set of policies called New Deal policies. It transformed the role of government and expectations, but it didn't include black folks.
No, it did not.
In 1964, a new era came in, where we began to fight for rights like a full civil rights bill and voting rights Act, the Fair Housing Act, to ensure the New Deal policy impact us. But those white folks who hated New Deal, they never quit fighting. They organized John Birch Society. They identified an intellectual by the name William F. Buckley. They partnered with a person who's running for presidency by the name of George Wallace, who tapped into the racist vein of the South, and with that, they created a new strategy, creating the Heritage Institute. And it was the Heritage Institute that drafted Project 2025. We are in an ongoing fight. We only lost a scrimmage, but the war will be won. Why? Because we will stay fired up and ready to go. In this moment, let's not be fooled when they put DI over here and they stick their middle finger at you down here. It's a distraction, because the goal is to take our federal tax dollars and defund Social Security, to defund Medicaid, to defund Medicare, to redefine the role of government so that those wealthy individuals can continue to control as they did prior to 1932. That's the fight we're in. And if anyone else tell you that this distraction over here is the fight, look away. Look over here. On Friday, our Congress will be debating whether or not to keep the government open. In the midst of that is a continuing resolution. Any member who depend on our vote to cut a deal with the opposition, we should put a target on them and run their ass out of office. At this moment, our fight must be clear. We cannot be intoxicated by charisma. We cannot be distracted by noise. We have to be focused that this is about all the people, not some of the people. And here we're representing all the people, and we will remain fired up, fired up, fired up, ready to go.
Hello, Selma. I'm Damon Hewitt. I'm president
of the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights and the Law, an organization founded just days in 1963, days after Medgar Evers was assassinated in the driveway of his own home. Just days after George Wallace stood in the schoolhouse door at the University of Alabama to block not just integration, but opportunity. And we're gathered here today, and y'all look so beautiful, to fight for your voice, for your opportunity, and to claim your power. Now, look, we know what's possible. When we fight, we win. But now, it shouldn't take all this, but it does. It shouldn't take all this, but it does. See, we have people trying to play us for a fool. Anybody tried to play you for a fool before? At school, at work, around the corner? We're trying to be played for a fool in Washington, D.C. They're trying to tell us that all the things we've come to know and understand about our right to vote, about diversity, equity, and inclusion, that is somehow wrong, that is illegal. That's what they're trying to tell us. Are you going to let them play you for a fool? No. See, here's the thing. It shouldn't take all this, but what they need to understand is when it comes to litigation, which we do a lot, we are about that life. When it comes to activism, you are about that life. When it comes to fighting for our rights, we are about that life. So here's what we got to do. I've been quoting the boy Kendrick this week. I said, sometimes you got to pop out and show racists exactly who we are. So it shouldn't take all this, but because we are about that life, we're going to show them exactly who we are. From the courtroom to the classroom to the boardroom. Racism has nowhere to hide. Racism will not win. Because we are what democracy looks like. Because we are about that life. Love y'all.
All right, y'all. We have some.
So we're watching here some speakers highlighting the importance of voting rights. This is at an event post that march that we showcased live. Of course, the cell signal down there in Selma, Alabama, not the best. So it does freeze, but from time to time. But we do want to bring you all of these remarks live as they happen, because that's what we do here at Live Now from Fox. In the meantime, while we wait for this signal to stabilize a bit, we are going to step away for a brief commercial break. So in 2 minutes, we'll be back with more from out of Selma. Stick with us.
Eczema isn't always obvious.
Eczema isn't always red.
But now, eczema isn't always going to stop you.
With Ebglyss. Ebglyss is a once-monthly treatment to help those with moderate to severe eczema find real itch relief and real results.
Like skin that's still more clear at 1 year. Don't use if you're allergic to Ebglyss. Allergic reactions can occur that can be severe. Eye problems can occur. Tell your doctor if you have new or worsening eye problems. You should not receive a live vaccine when treated with Ebglyss. Before starting Ebglyss, tell your doctor if you have a parasitic infection.
Skin that's still more clear, even at 1 year? Clearly, it's possible with Ebglyss.
Talk to your doctor about Ebglyss for eczema.
Classic luxury. Simplicity. Home. Tailored interiors designed for elegance. Resort-worthy amenities crafted for comfort. The Mark, Palm Beach Gardens, an iconic address where upscale luxury meets classic comfort. Live beautifully.
Welcome to a new season of Martha Cooks. Delicious food, delightful guests, and lots of fun. Good food, good friends, and good times. Bon appetit. Watch free on the Roku channel.
Life is short. Treat yourself.
Jim.
God, you're a beautiful one.
God, you're a lucky man.
Welcome back to Live Now from Fox, where unfortunately we did lose that live look out of Selma, Alabama, as we continue to commemorate the 60th anniversary of the Selma Bridge March. So while we wait to get another live picture from down there in the South, let's head back to that event that I was showcasing just before we went out there live, and that's the Unity Breakfast that was held earlier today. Several speakers discussing the importance of remembering the incident, which became known as Bloody Sunday, because protesters did clash with Alabama state troopers as they were marching and protesting for more voting rights across the country.
12 noon. I'm Congresswoman Sewell. I proudly represent Alabama's 7th District. It includes the historic cities of Birmingham and Tuscaloosa and Marion and Camden, and yes, my hometown of Selma, Alabama. So welcome to my hometown. I am standing here with members of Congress, senators and members of Congress, as well as board members of Faith and Politics Institute. I'd like to make sure that all the members are recognized. We have Senator Angela Alsobrooks from Maryland. We have Congresswoman LaMonica from McIvers from New Jersey. We have Wesley Bell from Missouri, Jonathan Jackson from Illinois, Troy Carter from Louisiana, Robin Kelly from Illinois. We have Democratic Caucus Chair Pete Aguilar. Where are you, Pete? All right. We also have Chair of the Congressional Black Caucus PAC, none other than Gregory Meeks from New York. We have Senator Warnock. Where's Senator Warnock from Georgia? We also have the DNC Chair, Ken Martin, somewhere here. Where's Ken? Want to acknowledge Ken? We also have with us Johnny O from Maryland, as well as Sarah from Maryland. Woohoo! We also have, Tim Kennedy we have. Where's Tim? All right. Did I miss anybody? Oh, we have our Lieutenant Governor from Virginia, none other than Lieutenant Governor Sears. Thank you for being here. We have Joe Morelli from Rochester, New York. We, of course, have Troy Carter from Louisiana. Where's Troy? I just want you to know that Congress is well represented in this place. And, of course, my partner in Alabama, and none other than Shamari Figures. You've already heard him speak. But I can't tell you how grateful I am, Alabama, that you sent to Congress Shamari Figures. I'm going to defer to Jim Clyburn to say a few words. The board member, okay. Who's going to speak for the board? So Cheryl's going to come and speak for the board. I know former clerk of the House.
Good morning. We are so happy to be here. I am Cheryl Johnson, Vice Chair of Faith and Politics. And I would like you all to know that we are carrying on the legacy of John Lewis. And we're carrying it on to the next generation because we want them to know that the freedom they enjoy today was hard fought, and that they should reflect and realize that we are not going back, that we are going forward. And I would like to introduce you to one of 30 students we have here with us in Selma that's part of our John Lewis Scholars Program. His name is Jamal Edwards, and he is representative of the 30 that we have who are here and who are learning their history and learning all about the richness of Alabama and what the foot soldiers have given us. So Jamal, I'd like you to say a few words.
Praise the Lord, everybody. Praise the Lord, everybody.
Praise the Lord.
I woke up this morning with my mind stayed on justice. My heartbeat was right on time. I opened my eyes and I could see, and all my limbs, they worked. I thank God for life. And indeed, and if you know it, say it with me, this is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. My name is Jamal Edwards, great-grandson of Pearlie Mae Crockett of Ogden, Arkansas, born 1912. No one in this room knows her. She never made the headlines and never had books written about her. She is what some might call ordinary. But without her, there'd be no me. Without her, there would be no message from me today. And let me tell you, I'm on divine assignment. So here's what I have to say. I arrived in Montgomery on Wednesday as part of the John Robert Lewis Fellows Program. And over the past few days, I stood in places where history was made. But more than that, where history was fought for. And I'm reminded of the gospel, Joel 1, verse 2 through 3. Hear this, you elders. Listen, all who live in this land. Has anything ever happened in your days or in the days of your ancestors? Tell it to your children. And let your children tell it to their children, and their children to the next generation. We are here today because somebody told the story. Somebody carried the torch. Somebody marched, fought, bled, and believed that freedom was worth sacrifice. And this week I sat with elders who did not just witness the movement, but they built it. I walked across the Edmund Pettus Bridge and I linked arms with Miss Ruby Shuttlesworth Bester, daughter of Reverend Fred Shuttlesworth. Before that moment, we had never met. But I knew her. Because I know my mother, I know my grandmother, and I know my great-grandmother. And in her, I saw all of them. I also visited the Legacy Museum where the truth was laid bare from enslavement to mass incarceration. And it forced me to ask, what will they say about this generation? What will they say we did with the freedom they fought for? And just this week, we learned that this administration is threatening to sell off the historic Montgomery bus station where freedom riders were beaten for daring to desegregate public transit. Think about that. Really think about it. This very site where young men and women were met with fists, chains, and fire could be erased from history just with the stroke of a pen. This is why we must remain vigilant. Our beloved John Lewis once said, "You are light. Never let anyone, any person, or any force dampen, dim, or diminish your light." And the light of John Lewis was never dimmed, because in the face of billy clubs, bombings, and brutality, he still believed. And along with belief, we must act. We must ensure that progress does not become a footnote in history, but remains the prelude to a better future. Now, y'all, I work for Microsoft on AI policy issues, and let me tell you, the technological shifts of our time, artificial intelligence, automation, digital equity, it will shape who is included and who is excluded. We must fight to ensure that these advancements serve all people, not just some. So I'm leaving Selma with the charge, and it's this. Now hear me. Freedom is never final, and progress is never permanent. But I hold on to the promise in Psalm 30, chapter 5. And if you know it, say it with me. Weeping may endure for the night, but joy comes in the morning. Our ancestors endured the night so that we could have this morning, this very morning. But morning is not the end, it's the beginning. So what will we do with the light? I ask you. Today I stand here not just as Jamal Edwards, great-grandson of Pearlie Mae Crockett. I stand here as one in a long line of those who refuse to accept the world as it is, and instead demand it to be better. May we be worthy of their sacrifice, may we be faithful to their vision, and may we never stop marching. God bless you all. Thank you so much.
Very good. Again, he is one of 30 who we have with us this weekend. They've been here since Wednesday, and he's the 5th cohort Since 2021, to honor John Lewis, we have been bringing 30 young people, just like Jamal, every weekend. And I would like to announce my other board members who's here. Craig Emanuel, and Tiffany Moore, and Joyce Brayboy.
And Dave is in the audience.
Come on, man. And Dave, our chair. Dave Maritano, where are you? I don't see Dave, but Dave has been behind the scenes putting all of this together. So thank you very much. And next is Congressman Jim Clyburn.
Thank you very much. Thanks to all of you for continuing this tremendous breakfast. Dr. Mitchell, I want to thank Dr. Mitchell for all of his efforts to coordinate our getting here today. Fire and Hank Sanders, thanks to the two of you for your efforts. We are trying very hard to continue the legacy of John Lewis, but to do so in such young man who spoke of his great-grandmother. All of us are obligated to do what is necessary to meet the moment. And if Senator Warnock were standing here today, he might take a passage from Matthew 25. But most people, when they go to Matthew 25, they rush down to the 40th and the 45th verses.
We're listening here to several lawmakers. There at the podium, you see Representative Clyburn. This was earlier today at a unity breakfast that we did showcase live when it was happening. And it is all to commemorate the Selma Bridge March, another event that we also showcase live. We're stepping away for a brief commercial break here at Live Now from Fox. When we come back, we continue on with more of our coverage honoring and remembering the 60th anniversary of that march. Stick with us.
Years of hard work, decades of dedication, committed to giving back. You've been there, done that, and you're still here for more. So now that you're 50 or older and at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia and IPD, be proactive with Capvaxive, a vaccine specifically designed for adults to help protect against pneumonia, an invasive disease caused by certain types of pneumococcal bacteria. Capvaxive is the only vaccine that helps protect against the strains that cause 84% of IPD in adults 50 or older, compared with up to 52% by other pneumococcal conjugate vaccines. Don't get Capvaxive if you're allergic to the vaccine or its ingredients. Tell your doctor if you have a weakened immune system. Common side effects include injection site reactions, feeling tired, headache, muscle aches, and fever. Whether you've had another pneumococcal vaccine or not, ask your doctor or pharmacist about Capvaxive.
This season, we went searching for the very best. So join me in my kitchen here for some truly memorable meals. Welcome back, everybody, to Emerald Cooks.
1965 when Alabama state troopers beat peaceful protesters marching against discrimination, the brutality against the marchers, including John Lewis, a black civil rights activist who went on to become a U.S. congressman, shocked the nation and helped spark the 1965 Voting Rights Act. I'd like to bring into the conversation now to continue this discussion on why it's so important to look back and remember this day. We are joined by Dr. Nick Cordelai-Corte. He is a political journalist. Nick Cordelai, thanks so much for being with us today.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
Of course. Okay, and let's talk about really the iconic John Lewis, because we continue to hear this name when we talk about what happened back in 1965. He was really at the forefront to make sure that voting rights were protected for African Americans across the U.S.
Yeah, I mean, you can't think about Bloody Sunday and not think about the courage, the heroism of the late Representative John Lewis. It is in part why Congress has named the renewal and the strengthening of the Voting Rights Act, the John Lewis Voting Rights Act, is because of so much that he has given to our country and so much of what he represents. I mean, I had a chance to be in Selma, Alabama, when Representative Lewis attended his last Selma Jubilee, his last Bloody Sunday. And he reminded us of the power of the voting, the voting as an instrument. He reminded us of the power of the ballot box when it comes to, in his words, sort of redeeming the soul of America, and encouraged us to not give up. And so I think a lot of people that are in Selma today, a lot of people that are participating in Bloody Sunday observances there and abroad, are reflecting on not just the words of former Representative John Lewis, but so many civil rights leaders who gave so much because they believed that this country could be better.
And Nick Cordelai, being a political journalist, obviously someone that is really in tune, especially when we talk about the black vote. We had this conversation during the 2024 campaign season. When we look at voting trends now, in what we're seeing amongst African-American voters, is this something where John Lewis would be proud? Would he think we've accomplished what we set out to do?
Well, you know, I think John Lewis would encourage us to keep going. I don't think John Lewis was ever sort of satisfied with any one result in an election. He always saw this work as bigger than any one election. You know, there's a brother that I know that organizes black men across the Carolinas, across the South. And one of the insights I gleaned in an interview with him during the 2024 election cycle is that when it comes to voting rights, when it comes to voter suppression, in the minds of a lot of people, voter suppression happens not just on election day, but it happens in between election cycles. You know, when people don't see or connect their vote to actual change in their communities. That is one of the best, commercials for voter suppression in the minds of so many people. You know, it's important that folks don't just show up to vote, but it's important that people that are in public office, people that are entrusted with public dollars and information, private information, that the government holds, it's important that our leaders do right by the people. It's important that leaders in any party really deliver on the change that people want to see. And so when people see their government disrupting their lives, when they see their government upping their taxes and, wrongfully sort of terminating employees, it creates a suspicion in government working for the people. And so this isn't just about, celebrating the fight for the Civil Rights Act, the Voting Rights Act, the Fair Housing Act, some of the signature biggest pieces of legislation in the 20th century. But it's about renewing the commitment that undergirds those pieces of legislation, a government for the people, by the people, not for the rich, not for and by any one party, but for the people.
And it goes back to what you were saying, even given with John Lewis, would he be proud today? But it's never really over, is it? Voting rights are only in place if you continue to show up and make sure that things are done accordingly. But Nicolai, before I let you go, I want to put up some footage from earlier today because we were showcasing that march over in Selma, and you mentioned it a little bit right off the top, but you were talking about the fact that you attended this Bloody Sunday march before John Lewis passed away. If you can just describe for our viewers really in detail the sentiment that you feel, the energy down there on the ground as you see so many thousands of people from all over the world convene to honor this day.
I think one of the beautiful things about the commemoration of Bloody Sunday is the renewal of our commitment. You know, Black, white, Latino, gay, straight, whoever you are, you recognize that the life that we get to lead as a country is undergirded by civil rights, voting rights, fair housing rights. And, you know, I think it was Mrs. Coretta Scott King that once said that it's the duty of every generation to fight for civil and human rights. They're never, ever really truly won. You know, and so it's because of commemorations like Bloody Sunday that we are reminded of that responsibility. We're reminded of how fragile these civil and human rights protections are. And John Lewis reminds us when it comes to voting rights that those rights are worth fighting for. And so in the days and months ahead, there will be efforts, I'm sure, in Congress to protect voting rights. There will also be efforts to scuttle and erode voting rights. And it's up to all of us to pay attention and to be engaged and to carry that responsibility all the way through.
Dr. Nicolai Corte, political journalist, always a pleasure to speak with you here at Live Now from Fox. Thanks for joining us on this Sunday. And regardless of what happens going forward, of course, we'll be checking in with you as we get those updates. Wait for our final commercial break of this hour. I do want to bring up one more time this post on X that I had showcased a couple of times throughout the day today from Martin Luther King III, saying this: a few years ago, Andrea and I stood with John Lewis on this bridge, remembering the past and looking toward the future. As we return today for Selma 16, we continue the work for justice and democracy. We'll be right back.
Ford F-350 to pull it. I started noticing a loss in power on inclines that were never a problem. With over 250,000 miles on it, I decided to try Seafoam Motor Treatment. I was impressed because the power was back.
Help your engine run better and last longer with Seafoam Motor Treatment. Pick up a can today at O'Reilly Auto Parts or learn more at SeafoamWorks.com.
True crime all the time. ABC's 2020 is now streaming 24/7.
True murder mystery.
Shocking.
Sex, betrayal, lies.
A bombshell.
The greatest true crime stories.
Now streaming on the 2020 channel.
This was somebody that was interested in inflicting pain, and I was sure people had died there.
I say it's this. The principle is self-defense. They say